माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन।
यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन।
यमुनतीरावनचारि
मन तीरा वनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
मनोभीष्टं
स्थापितं
स्थापितं येन
येन
भूतले
स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं
तदामयं
ददाति
ददाति
स्वपदान्तिकं
स्वपदान्ति
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं
श्रीगुरुं
श्रीगुरुं श्रीकृष्णं
श्रीयुतापतिं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरकृष्णे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So yesterday Acharya was discussing how the mode of how the mode of resident of Goloka Vrindavan is of servant, and how the servant enjoys as one down in the line of being servant of the servant of the servant of the servant one experience greater joy. We'll continue from the next verse. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
जय जय श्री
Jaya
चैतन्य
Chandra Jaya Advaita
जय
Jai Dutta Chandra Jaya Gura Bhakta Vrinda.
Okay, so this is text 210. This verse was read yesterday.
Yes, Guru.
This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. Asha Govinda Leela. All the gopis, the personal friends of Srimati Radharani, are equal to her. Krishna is pleasing to the inhabitants of Brajabhumi, just as the moon is pleasing to the lotus flower. His pleasure-giving potency is known as Ahladini, of which the active principle is Srimati Radharani. She is compared to a creeper with newly grown flowers and leaves. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on Srimati Radharani, all her friends, the gopis, immediately appreciate the pleasure 100 times more than if they were sprinkled themselves. Actually, this is not at all wonderful. Next verse gives purport only. Although the gopis, Srimati Radharani's friends, do not desire to enjoy themselves directly with Krishna, Srimati Radharani makes a great endeavor to induce Krishna to enjoy himself with the gopis. Radharani also becomes the mood of servant, forwards the other gopis to meet Krishna. Presenting various pleas for the gopis, Srimati Radharani sometimes sends the gopis to Krishna just to enable them to associate with him directly. At such times, he enjoys a happiness 10 million times greater than they enjoyed through direct association. So he enjoys greater happiness and sends a gopi to Krishna. The transcendental mellow is nourished by that mutual behavior and transcendental love of Godhead. When Lord Krishna sees how the gopis have developed pure love for him, he becomes very satisfied. Purport: Srimati Radharani and the gopis are not interested in their personal happiness derived from association with Krishna. Rather, they become happy by seeing one another associate with Krishna. In this way, their dealings are further nourished by love of Godhead. And seeing this, Krishna is very pleased. So this line is very important, that Srimati Radharani and the gopis are not interested in their personal happiness derived from association with Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj says, if you want to really become happy, stop looking for happiness. What it means is that when one serves Krishna or the devotees of Krishna, he automatically becomes happy. So he is Happiness is a natural outcome of selfless service. To the degree one is selfless in his service, to that degree one experiences greater joy. Generally, material world we perform every activity to get happiness, but happiness is only in view. But in spiritual life, to the degree one becomes selfless, one is not interested in one's own happiness. One is just interested in serving. And by serving, one automatically derives greater happiness. So that is the mystery. It is to be noted that the natural characteristics of the gopis is to love the Supreme Lord. Their lust desire is not to be compared to material lust. Nonetheless, because their desire sometimes appears to resemble material lust, their transcendental love for Krishna is sometimes described as lust. So the gopis, they do not have material lust. That's spiritual lust. Sometimes called that's actually love only, but sometimes described as lust. Purport. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that material lust should never be attributed to Krishna, who is full of transcendental knowledge. Material lust cannot be engaged in the service of Lord, for it is applicable to materialist, not to Krishna. Only prema, love of Godhead, is applicable for the satisfaction of Krishna. Prema is full service rendered unto the Lord. The lusty affairs of the gopis actually constitute the topmost love of Godhead, because the gopis never act for their own personal satisfaction. They are simply pleased by engaging other gopis in the service of the Lord. The gopis derive more transcendental pleasure from indirectly engaging other gopis in the service of Krishna than from engaging in his service themselves. That is the difference between material lust and love of Godhead. Lust applies to the material world and love of Godhead applies only to Krishna. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives the definition of lust and love. Atmendriya priti vancha tare bole kam, Krishna indriya priti ichha dhare prema. The desire to satisfy one's own senses is called lust. And the desire to satisfy Krishna's senses is called love. So the materialistic people, they sometimes consider the relation between gopis and Krishna, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, is act of lust. Because they do not have the conception of love, so they consider that to be lust. But actually, Srimati Radharani and gopis only desire is to see Krishna happy. Or when they're in the mood of servant, their desire is other gopis, Srimati Radharani and Krishna should be happy. That is their only goal. So there is no tinge of personal happiness. And Krishna conscious also, actually, as we, if we want to advance further, we have to stop thinking about what makes me happy. We have to more and more focus on what makes other devotees happy, and to do everything to make other devotees happy. Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada would feel very great happiness if Prabhupada used to say, I would love to be in Vrindavan, but that would be a sense gratification for me. Srila Prabhupada is saying, staying in Vrindavan would be sense gratification for him. Why is saying so? Because residing in Vrindavan would be, I would only be happy. But if I go out and preach this message of Lord Chaitanya as instructed by my spiritual master, so many conditioned souls also can become happy. So that is a greater service, and that would give a greater joy than the happiness he would get in riding Vrindavan. So as one advances in Krishna consciousness, he becomes more and more and more and more selfless and considers how others can be happy. Para sukha sukhi and para dukha dukhi. He is happy to see others happy, and he is distressed by seeing others suffering. So Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, he saw the people are suffering, and tears came in Srila Prabhupada's eyes because Prabhupada could feel their suffering. So to make them Krishna consciousness greater happiness than to reside in Vrindavan. That's spiritual happiness, not in of personal. Although the dealings of gopis with Krishna are on the platform of pure love of Godhead, such dealings are sometimes considered to be lusty. But because they are completely spiritual, Uddhava and all the other dearmost devotees of the Lord desire to participate in them. So this lust is spiritual, it's not material. And it's actually not lust, it's love only. Lusty desires are experienced when one is concerned with one's own personal sense gratification. The mood of gopi is not like that. Their only desire is to satisfy the sense of Krishna. Among the gopis, there is not a pinch of desire for sense gratification. Their only desire is to give pleasure to Krishna. And this is why they mingle with him and enjoy with him. All the Brajvasis, actually, their only concern is how to give pleasure to Krishna and Srimati Radharani and everyone else. All the gopis said, "Dear Krishna, I carefully hold your delicate lotus feet upon your hard breast. When you walk in the forest, your soft lotus feet are pricked by small bits of stone. We fear that this is paining you. Since you are our life and soul, our minds are very much disturbed when your lotus feet are pained." And this is from Gopi Gita. One who is attracted by that ecstatic love of the gopis does not care about popular opinion or the regulatory principles of Vedic life. Rather, he completely surrenders unto Krishna and renders service unto him. So this ecstatic love of the gopis is the highest. Prema Pumartha Mahan. The Vedas talk about dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma means religiosity, artha means economic development, kama means sense gratification, and moksha is liberation. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that beyond this four Purushartha, there is fifth or highest Purushartha, that is Prema Pumartha Mahan. That is the love of Godhead. And love of Godhead manifested by the gopis is the highest. That is why Mahaprabhu said, Gopi Bhattur Padakamalur Das 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 Anudas. So I want to become servant of seven. Krishna is the maintainer of the gopis. The love of the gopis is the highest, which is the essence of all religiosity. Raganuga marge tare bhaje jai jan, she jan prai bhaje bhajendra nandan. If one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavan, he receives the shelter of Brajendra Nandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. In all, there are 64 items listed for the rendering of service on Krishna. There are 64 items, types of devotion service. These are the regulative principles enjoined in the Shastras and given by the spiritual master. One should serve Krishna according to these regulative principles. But if one develops spontaneous love for Krishna as exhibited in the activities of those who live in Brajapam, one attains the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. So the bhakti we are practicing currently is called Vedic Sadhana Bhakti. That is under the rules, regulations given by Guru Sadhu Shastra. We have not awakened the spontaneous love, but we are following the principles as mentioned by Guru Sadhu Shastra. That is called Vedic Sadhana Bhakti. When one performs sincerely this Vedic Sadhana Bhakti, one gets purified, and one's dormant love is awakened to a greater degree. Then one goes into Raganuga Bhakti. And this Raganuga Bhakti has two aspects, Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. And Raganuga Marg, one follows the mood of any Brajavasi, which is attracted to, or as revealed by spiritual master, either in Dasyaras or Sakhyaras or Vasilyaras or Madhuryaras. One who develops this spontaneous love is eligible for elevation to the platform enjoyed by the inhabitants of Brajabhumi. In Brajabhumi, there are no regulative principles set forth for Krishna's service. Rather, everything is carried out in spontaneous, natural love for Krishna. There is no question of following the principles of Vedic systems. Such principles are followed within this material world as long as one is on material platform. He has to execute them. However, spontaneous love of Krishna is transcendental. It may seem that the regulative principles are being violated, but the devotee is on the transcendental platform. Such service is called Gunatit or Nirguna, for it is not contaminated by three modes of material nature. Sometimes these Raganuga Bhaktas may not follow some of the principles, but they are not condemned because they have awakened the love of Krishna. But till the time we have not awakened that love of Krishna, we must follow the rules and regulations. And Raganuga Bhakta also follows to set an example. But sometimes because of loving reciprocation, they may not do that. Just like sometimes Shiva Prabhupada went to the kitchen and took samosas. And some disciples said, Prabhupada, this is not offered. Prabhupada said, that's okay. Now we cannot do that. Prabhupada can do that because he has awakened love for Krishna. He wanted to see how the bhoga is made. So that he can, just like Shabri was tasting all the fruits so that is ripe or not. And when Lord Ram came, she offered that. So that is actually that is out of love. We cannot imitate. In his liberated state, the devotee is attracted by one of the five humors in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As he continues to serve the Lord in that transcendental mood, he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna and Goloka Vrindavan. So as one practices that Raganuga, one receives a spiritual body and gets transferred to Goloka. Those any person who represents the Upanishad are vivid examples of this. By worshipping the Lord on the path of spontaneous love, they attain the lotus feet of Brajendra Nandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. In the Golok Vrindavan planet, Krishna's servants are headed by Raktak and Patrak. Krishna's friends are headed by Sudama, Subala, and others. There are also elderly gopis and the cowherdmen, headed by Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, and others. All of these personalities are eternally engaged in the loving service of the Lord, in accordance with their specific attachment for Krishna. One wants to return home to serve the Lord directly may be attracted to Krishna as a servant, friend, father, or mother, or a lover. If a person continuously serves Krishna during his life in a particular ecstasy, by giving up material body, he attains a spiritual body suitable for serving Krishna in terms of his particular attachment. One may serve as servant, friend, father, or mother. In the same way, one wants to serve Krishna and conjugal love can attain a body under the guidance of the gopis. In this connection, the most vivid example is provided by those saintly personalities known as the Shrutis, who represent the Upanishad. The Shrutis understood that without serving Krishna and following the footsteps of the gopis, there would be no possibility of them entering the kingdom of love and kingdom of God. Serving Krishna in the mode of conjugal love. Therefore, they engaged one day's loving service under Krishna and followed the footsteps of gopis. So they became Shruti-chari gopis. Great sages conquer the mind senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath, thus engaging mystic yoga. They see the super soul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality God attain the position of simply by thinking of the Supreme. However, the damsels of Braja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his harm, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately taste the nectar of lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following the footsteps of gopis. So the personified Upanishads, they also follow in the footsteps of the gopis. Gopis are so exalted. The word Shamadrisha mentioned in the fourth line of the previous verse mentioned following the mode of gopis. The word Sama means the Shrutis, attainment of bodies like those of the gopis. The word Angri Padma Sudha means associating to Krishna. One can attain such perfection in spontaneous love of God. One cannot obtain Krishna and Golok Vrindavan simply by serving the Lord according to the identities. The Supreme Person of God, Krishna, is accessible to those devotees engaged in continuous loving service, but is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as itself. So it cannot be attained by Jnana Marg or Yoga Marg or by materialist. Therefore, one should accept the mode of the gopis in the service, and such a transcendental mode one should always think of the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. After thinking of Radha and Krishna and their pastimes for a long time, and after getting completely free from mental contamination and transfer to the spiritual world, thus I think devotee attains an opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna as one of the gopis. One who follows in the mode of gopis, they become the gopis or manjaris. Unless one follows in the footsteps of gopis, he cannot attain the service of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Nand Maharaj. If one is overcome by knowledge of the Lord's opulence, he cannot attain the Lord's lotus feet. So one who is attracted by the knowledge or Lord's opulence, then he will go to Vaikuntha. One can worship Lakshmi Narayan by the process of Vidhi Marga. Worshipping the Lord with the regular principles according to the instruction of the Shastra and spiritual master. The Supreme Personality of God, Radha Krishna, cannot be directly worshipped by these processes. These dealing with Radha and Krishna and the gopis are devoid of the opulence of Lakshmi Narayan. The process of Vidhi Marg, Vidhi means by regulative principles, is utilized in the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, whereas the process of spontaneous service following in the footsteps of the gopis, who are the denizens of Vrindavan, is transcendental, more advanced as the process by Radha and Krishna worship. One cannot attain this elevated position while worshipping the Lord in his opulence. Those attracted by the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna must follow in the footsteps of the gopis. Only then is possible to enter into Lord's service in Golok Vrindavan. So by Vidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, one cannot attain this one, but special mercy is there in Lord Chaitanya's movement, those who are following Lord Chaitanya and performs Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, they can be elevated to Raganuga. Otherwise, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, you get the destination of Vaikuntha. Chaitanya has opened these doors of Goloka Vrindavan. That is His great mercy. The unspoken example in this connection, goddess of fortune, worshipped Lord Krishna in order to attain his pastimes in Vrindavan, but due to her opulent lifestyle, she could not retain the service of Krishna in Vrindavan. So Lakshmi ji also wanted to enter as Das Lila, but she could not, because she could not give her Aishwarya Bhav. Lord Krishna was dancing at the gopis in the Das Lila. The gopis are embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other counselors in the spiritual world. Nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly lands. Girls with bodily luster and armor resemble the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers, not to speak of worldly women who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation. So the beauty of the gopis are highest, greater than even Lakshmis and even heavenly girls. So after hearing all this, Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ms. Ramananda, and both of them embracing shoulders, began to cry. They're crying in ecstasy. The entire night was passed in this way, in ecstatic love of Godhead. In the morning, they both departed to tend to their respective duties. Before departing from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raman fell to the ground and caught hold of God's lotus feet. He then spoke submissively as follows. Sri Ramananda, I said, you have come here just to show me your causeless mercy. Therefore, stay here for at least 10 days and purify my polluted mind. Ramananda, I said, so even after telling all these ecstatic, exalted realities of the spiritual world, Sri Ramananda, I said, you have come here just to show me causeless mercy. Therefore, stay here for more days and purify my polluted mind. But these, even in most exalted status, one is super humble. Actually, as one progresses in Krishna consciousness, to the degree one becomes more and more advanced, to that degree one becomes more and more humble. So Ramananda spoke such elevated topics, but still he told, my mind is polluted. And this is today's verse. I'm just reciting. Toma bina anna nahi jiva uddharite.
Mabina anya nahi jiva uddharite.
Namaste.
Toma bina anna nahi Krishna prema dite.
Toma bina
Mabina anya nahi Krishna prema dite.
But for you, there is no one who can deliver all living entities. For you alone can deliver love of Krishna. Only you can deliver love of Krishna. But actually, Krishna does not deliver love of Krishna himself, because Krishna, whoever he gives love of Godhead, he becomes his purchased property. That is why Krishna doesn't give his love. So Krishna's devotee becomes the medium to bestow love of Krishna. And later on, Mahaprabhu will also tell, actually, my mind became purified. It became purified. Having heard about your glories, I have come here to hear about Krishna from you, and thus purified. Mahaprabhu also exhibits humility. So love of God is so amazing that one never becomes proud, one is always humble, and there is no tinge of personal self-gratification. So this path of spontaneous love of God is most glorious. And by Mahaprabhu's mercy and in the Parampara, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we are given the access to it. So we must aspire for this. It is far-fetched idea for us to approach love of God or spontaneous devotion. We are struggling with our anarthas, we're struggling with our bad habits, we're struggling with the modes of ignorance and passion. It's a far-fetched idea. But if we sincerely follow the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti as given by Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters, then by their mercy, actually, we can come to that stage of Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love of God, if that is possible. So you have to sincerely practice. And these things we cannot follow actually. These things are meant to be aspired, meant to be appreciated, but not to be followed. There's the principle we need to follow of being the servant of servant. And if we do that, then by mercy of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master and the Vaishnavas, we can also reach that stage. Okay. There's one type of so-called Vaishnavas who foolishly imitate. They are called Sahajiyas, who try to imitate the gopis. So that is strictly dangerous. Also, some of the devotees, they feel, oh, why this sadhana bhakti is so strenuous. Love is not getting awakened. So one should not become impatient also. That is why sometimes people go to different Bhavajis in Vrindavan or in Navadip to get this love of God awakened very quickly. And they fall in the trap of those so-called elevated souls. So that is also not recommended. The path that is given by Srila Prabhupada is most authentic, and if we follow sincerely, we'll surely attain this status. We have to be patient, patiently, sincerely, Usahat Nishchaya Dhairya, we should follow this Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And when time will come, we'll receive that mercy of awakening love of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai,
Yeah.
Nitai Gaur Nande.
Hare
I am at Pandharpur Dham, currently at ISKCON Pandharpur, a very holy place. It's called Bhu Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha on the earth. Here the famous deities of Vitthal Rukmini. Vitthal means the Lord who is standing on brick. He is waiting for his devotee who is serving his parents, devoted parents. So the Lord is also waiting for his devotee, becoming servant of his devotee. That is why it's called Bit, means brick thala, who is standing on the brick. So Bit thala. So myself and Vinit Prabhu has come here for advance party for the December long yatra. So I'm praying for all of you. Any questions or comments or anything you'd like to add or share?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavata Pranam.
Dandavata Pranam.
Prabhuji, here it is mentioned that Raganuga Bhakti is higher than Vedic Bhakti. So, yes. And it is also mentioned that no matter how much we follow the rules and regulation and principles, we cannot achieve God. Okay. So, but in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, last slok, Manmana Bhavad Bhakto, Madhya Ma Namaskuru. So here God says, Krishna says that you worship me, offer the obeisance to me. So we can, you can find me. And in 10th chapter, yeah, you can attain me.
So you attain Lord's.
And in 10th chapter,
just by
it is
Vaidhi
also...
Sadhana Bhakti, one can attain to Vaikuntha.
Okay.
One can attain Vaikuntha.
But in 10th chapter, it is mentioned that Lord says that you meditate on one of the opulences, then you can attain me. So,
yes.
So how we can relate all these things with today's...
One is attracted to the opulence of Lord, then he is He goes to Vaikuntha.
But here
Vaikuntha
Lord is
is
also
opulent.
mentioning
Vaikuntha
the
is Lord is worshipped opulently. There is opulence in Vaikuntha. But this ecstatic love of Vrindavan is unparalleled, which can be only attained by Raganuga Marg and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya that is available to us. That is why it said Anarpita Charim Chiran. This mercy is not bestowed in millions of years. Anarpita Charim Chiran. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to bestow that mercy, opening the doors of Goloka Vrindavan. So actually, that is why we are so fortunate being connected in the Gaudiya Parampara.
So to say that before Lord Chaitanya, this opportunity was not available
Yeah.
for general people. It was not available for general people before Lord
Yes.
Chaitanya.
Yes, that is why Chaitanya mentioned Anarpita Charim Chiran. Millions of years it is not bestowed, this mercy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now I'll bring Prasad from here when we meet on Sunday.